How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. I know so many people that like instant Korean noodles. You know, the stuff with the red pepper powder, and it tastes so savory all the time. Well, the thing is, those instant noodles, they always have a lot of preservatives in it. And it's really, really bad for your health. So because I like the flavor so much and yet I do not really want to eat the instant noodle kind, I've devised my own way of making fresh instant Korean noodle. Basically, you use some plain dried noodles. Let me show you. I have over here some of these, what they call knife cut noodles. Now, this is not necessarily a Korean type of noodles, it's actually Chinese. But let me take one out to show you. You can see that the edges are actually thinner than the center part of the noodle. So it kind of gives this texture that's kind of like knife cut, because when they do the knife cut noodles, the edges are a lot thinner. So the profile of the noodle, if you just cut it in half, it's gonna be a lot thicker in the middle and a lot thinner on the edges. So then this gives you a little bit of slightly different texture. The center is gonna be a little bit harder or maybe a lot chewier, and the edges will be a little bit soft. One of the main components of all this is, of course, crushed red pepper. I bought this bag from a Korean supermarket and basically toss in 1 tablespoon of this stuff, and along with a whole bunch of other savory types of spices in order to compensate and in order to try to make your own spice packet. When you do this, well, there's not going to be any preservatives, because then you're using your own spices, your own fresh stuff. So let me just get started and show you what I put in the broth. I'm going to add about that much water. So this is about 2.5 cups. 1 tablespoon of that crushed red pepper. I have a little bit of cumin powder. Just a little bit would be okay. I have fresh crushed pepper. Okay, this is probably about 1/4 teaspoon. I have fish sauce over here to give it a little bit of saltiness. I guess I used it up. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. If you don't have dried chopped onion, you can put in fresh onion, but then it takes a little bit more work. When it's dried like this, you can easily just put in 1 teaspoon of it. This adds a little bit of sweetness to the broth. I'm gonna put in some of this Lee and Perrins reduced sodium Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce has this savory taste to it. They also use anchovies, you can see over here, and salt, garlic, cloves, all kinds of different stuff to add another layer of flavor to your broth. And then lastly, I have pure sesame oil over here. I'm just gonna drizzle a tiny little bit over here. That's good enough. That's probably about 3/4 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon or so. And then I have some mushrooms over here. Mushrooms is also a little bit of savory flavor, so I'm gonna add 3 mushrooms. Just cut these. Now I also have some leftover broccoli over here. So I'm gonna use some of this in the whole mix. Wait till this boils. It's important to layer your flavor, so this is not gonna taste like just some garlic powder and also crushed red pepper powder water. It's gonna taste like an actual soup. You see, I also add a little bit of oil. Whenever you see the instant noodles, they also include a little bit of oil every single time. It kind of lubricates your noodles a little bit, so when you eat it, they're a little bit more slippery than usual. It's a texture type of thing. So now you can see it's about to boil, and you can see the color. It's relatively like instant Korean noodles. Okay, when it's come to a boil, we're gonna boil our noodles for 7 minutes total, but after 5 minutes, we're gonna add in our mushrooms so that they'll cook a little bit. Now we gotta loosen it up a little bit. I'm gonna set the timer for 7 minutes, and we're just gonna let this boil for a little bit. 5 minutes have passed, and it's getting a little bit softer. So now I'm going to add in my mushroom, and I'm gonna add in some broccoli. Close that. 7 minutes is up. Usually it's a little bit messed up right here, so you can do a little bit of plating. Just kind of move. I like to move all the like ingredients into one corner and then kind of have the noodles exposed. I kind of like eating my food separately. Just kind of eat the noodles, and then if I feel like eating mushroom, it goes well together. But then usually vegetables do not go very well with everything else, so I would prefer to eat all of this first, and then at the end, then I'll chow down on the vegetables. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Let me test the soup, because Well, the soup is very important. Without the soup, the noodles is gonna taste super duper plain. So you need the black pepper. The black pepper actually makes things taste spicy. I know it's weird because we're already putting in red crushed pepper. The red crushed pepper isn't actually all that spicy in itself for some reason. So you need to add, other kinds of spiciness. And then you also need the soy sauce. The soy sauce adds another layer to things because there's soy in it. There's a different kind of savory flavor. The mushroom is another kind of savory flavor. The onion, I think that adds a little bit of savory flavor as well. The fish sauce also adds another kind of savory flavor. So you have all these different layers. When you eat it, when you drink the soup, you'll feel like it's full. I mean, when they design these instant noodles, they know. They do all kinds of things to make it as good as it can be with all the tools that they can, all the kinds of ingredients they can put together to make it as delicious as possible. And now you're trying to do the same at home. So this is a little bit difficult. You may not have all the ingredients to do it, such as that dried onion thing. I didn't have that at first. So I looked at the ingredients in those instant noodle packets. And then I'm like, oh, you need this? Oh, you need the onion? Oh, you need the garlic powder? Oh, you need this and this. So then you slowly accumulate all these different kinds of spices. And then, well, now you can just kind of go freehand and then go, you know what? I like it to be a little bit more garlicky. Maybe I like it to be more sweet. So you add a little bit more dried onion. So let me give this a taste first. At first, I cooked this kind of noodle for 5 minutes, and it was still a little bit too chewy. So I extended to 7 minutes. The package says 5 to 7 minutes. But even with 7 minutes, it's still a little bit chewy. I know this kind of noodle is not the exact same kind that you would put in Korean noodles. Why is it even Korean? It's because there's crushed red pepper in it. Most other kinds of noodles do not have crushed red pepper. So you can kind of consider this gourmet, and it's really good for you because, I put broccoli in there, then you get your fiber. I know most people do not even want to eat vegetables inside their instant noodles. I personally really, really hated it before. But it's part of a balanced diet, so what I would recommend, eat everything else first and then save it later on. So then you can go, okay, it's there, you should eat it, and that's that. One of the better ways to eat the noodle, I think, is rather than grab it and slurp it like this, you cannot obtain as much soup. It's really your preference, I like to put some noodles here, grab as much soup as I can, and eat it together. Otherwise, the noodles taste kind of plain. If you want it more spicy, well, add more red pepper, or you can add other kinds of hot sauces. The idea here is keep some of this dry noodle with no flavoring packets at all at home. And then when the mood strikes, or maybe you don't have any food at home, maybe you only have a bunch of weird leftovers or something, then you break this out and then go, okay, I got all these dried spices, put it together with some water. I cooked this in about 7-10 minutes, and then you have a whole meal right here. I think this is super duper cheap, about $1 worth of mushroom. I don't know how much this is, but then, the noodles, a quarter or something. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. It's not really a recipe. I actually just thought I want to make my own Korean noodle, but I don't want to use the flavoring packet because it's not healthy. So I'm like, okay, I tested it out. I did a few trial runs. I'm like, this is not quite right. Let me add more of this, more of this. And then I came down to this recipe. So I actually developed this myself. Thank you for watching, everybody. Don't forget to give me a like, push that subscribe button, ring that bell icon.